Good day, Erin, and welcome to your shadow work reading. So let me move all my little stuff here. So, what we are getting into today is your shadow. Your shadow. Your shadow. Your shadow is a representation of all the parts of yourself that you have sort of pushed into the background in order to create a version of yourself that you thought would make life easier for yourself. This can be something as difficult as you were very assertive as a child and your parents shut you down, so therefore you eventually stopped using your voice for fear of retribution. Or something simpler like maybe you stopped singing and dancing because you ran out of time. But the point in this reading is to help you identify the parts of yourself that are still very necessary, that your inner child needs you to acknowledge, so that we can bring those into the light and they can start becoming active. They can start being transmuted, which is the way that you take a negative and make it like a strong positive, a negative, so to speak. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull using my archetype deck, which is going to tell us the three personified traits of your shadow. Um, and then after that, we're going to pull from my energy deck, deck, so we can see what energy you need to embrace in order to integrate your shadows. You ready? All right, let's get started. I'm gonna pull all three at one time, and then we're gonna go through them. So, dear universe, what is Erin's first shadow she needs to integrate? What is the first shadow that Erin needs to integrate? Shadow Erin needs to integrate. All right, that's one. Dear universe, what is the second shadow that Erin needs to integrate? What is the second shadow that Erin needs to integrate? To integrate. All right, last one. To universe, what is the third shadow that Erin needs to integrate? And flipped out. So there's the answer to that. So let's put these down. All right. Ooh. You ready for this? So the first shadow part that is pushed into your subconscious that you need to make peace with is that of the martyr. Um, the light attribute of this that we are typically born with is the person who is willing to give themselves for other people, the person who understands everybody else's background so much so that they're able to put their needs and wants aside in order to help others. Um, when it becomes a shadow, this is somebody who has given so much of themselves that they become stuck in a perpetual cycle of pity. In some cases, you feel like everybody's always taking advantage. Your power is always being stolen. You're just really like aren't feeling your best because you've given so much and you haven't received that back. Only you don't realize that you have the power to take your power whatever you want to. This is typically relating to you having to be something during your childhood. For one parent or the other, you sort of had to put yourself aside so they did not feel crappy. You gave a lot of yourself, and that is something that you haven't cut off yet, not even realizing that you no longer need to fully give of yourself to be accepted. You are allowed to have boundaries. The second shadow you need to integrate is the queen. This is somebody who is very regal and very looked up to and sort of, what's the word I want to use? Diplomatic. That's the natural trait. Now, when it's a shadow trait, this means that for some reason you are angry about having to be the hero. You are mad that you always have to solve everything, and it sort of becomes I don't want to say a bully, but the resentment has built up in you in a way that you sort of like, do this my way or we'll have a problem. But it could be internal. You don't even have to tell anybody, but it's a feeling of like you need to handle everything or everything's not going to go right. It's everything becoming a burden. Your royalty, your intelligence is sort of making you feel caged with this here. So the last one here is the guide. This is somebody who is gifted spiritually and is meant to help other people through life. Now, for you, When it becomes a shadow attribute, uh, sometimes you don't want to be the guide. There seems to be a lot of resentment for the misuse of your gifts. And by that, I mean the exploitation of your gifts. Do you feel like you've been exploited? Do you feel like people have been using you? Do you not have all the right people in your circle? Um, so therefore, you don't always share the gifts. Have you gotten to the point where sometimes you know the answer to something, but you don't even want to tell anybody no more? You don't have time for it. This is all a sign of like burnout, like you're tired of being amazing and you want somebody to be amazing to you. So now I'm going to pull for you to see what, dear universe, what is the energy that Erin needs to embrace in order to integrate her shadow? What is the energy that Erin needs to embrace in order to integrate her shadow? Energy needs to embrace to integrate her shadow. Courage and stability. Um, have you developed a routine for yourself that includes yourself? This is deeply saying you need to do some work on your sacral chakra, maybe meditations or listen to some frequencies on YouTube to help out, but also your root chakra. Eating more red foods for the root chakra, the vibrations, the frequencies, the meditations, or orange foods for your sacral chakra, because it appears that your childhood has created a rift in your ability to ground yourself and to take your own power. So that whole lower part needs to be fixed in order for all of your energy to come through, for you to feel more at peace and at ease and more balance. This is the beginning of a path for you. You're starting to take, in order to find yourself, to correct things that have been going the wrong way because they started off in a way that veered you off. It was necessary for you to go down this path of completely deleting yourself in your own life for you to rebuild yourself in the image that works best for you. I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Erin.